The Commission made this call at the third Next Generation Aviation Professionals Global Summit at the Durban ICC. The three-day event started today. It aims to address the urgent need for new skilled professionals in the sector globally. The Commission Secretary-General Adefunke Adeyemi has urged Africa to dismantle the systemic barriers that limit the participation of women and young people in the aviation sector.
The world of global aviation needs our African youth. ICAO tells us that over the next 20 years, aviation globally is going to almost triple in its size. In Africa, aviation is going to almost triple in its size. Africa has the youngest population of this entire world, with an average age of 19. In the next 20 years, we're going to need over 70,000 aviation professionals in Africa, just from an operational perspective.
Recapping the top story, independent economist Elise Kruger says the country's muted economic growth is resulting in negative employment outcomes. I'm on Dilambana for SAFM News Headlines at 1:30.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Four-time World Rugby champions, the Springboks, want to emphasize their winning mentality. However, the Wallabies are going all out to upset the reigning global champs. This is the Rugby Championship. Experience world-class rugby action. South Africa collides with Australia on Saturday, 16 August at 5:10, live on SABC radio stations. Also available on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
This Women's Month, SAFM stands with the women shaping South Africa's future. Under the theme, Building Resilient Economies for All, we honor the pioneers, the problem solvers, and the everyday heroes driving change. Stay tuned as SAFM brings you powerful stories and meaningful conversations that move us. SAFM, celebrating women, celebrating progress. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
was Brenda Mtambo. That last note when she goes down. Brenda Mtambo coming through with Tembanjalo is the name of the song. And Brenda, along with Judith Puma, will actually be paying tribute to Mam Letambulu as part of this year's Standard Bank Joy of Jazz on the 24th of August. They actually have been rolling out some incredible sort of tribute events for Mam Letambulu. And we're trying to get her on the show, but she keeps protesting me about coming in studio. But I'll keep trying. I'll do my best. I'll keep trying. And as you know, we are going to be hosting the Dipala stage on the from the 26th until the 28th of September at the Joy of Jazz as SAFM, and you can get all of your tickets and have a look as well as that incredible itinerary of performers via joyofjazz.co.za. That is how we open up the show today by way of the music offering. We've got lots on the agenda. We're going to be talking the official Y20 South Africa Summit, which is kicking off in August ahead of the G20 Summit. And of course, you know that the Y20 focuses primarily on youth folks on the continent and globally. So we're going to find out what is on the cards for discussion and, issues of priority for young people. Stages, pages, screens and more is also coming up today. And the UNISA Gallery is opening up the Place and Practice Collective Voices from Ellis House exhibition. So we'll find out from there. Nice collaboration there. Ellis House is a beautiful... I was talking to you guys about Ellis House last week. A beautiful space that if you find the time or if you can make the time to go and experience. I'll tell you what's coming up after 2 o'clock. It is Tuesday. So we have a health and wellness focus today that is coming up after 2. Let's take a quick pause and then we'll come back and we'll get into the show.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
Channel your inner warrior woman this August on Expresso as we celebrate and empower women across South Africa. From trailblazing heroines to inspiring entrepreneurs, we spotlight stories of strength, resilience, and change. Join us for powerful panel chats, wisdom, wellness, and bold conversations on equality, GBV, and women's rights. This Women's Month, rise with the women leading our nation forward. Weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. only on S3.
SAFM celebrates its 89th birthday this month by giving listeners an exclusive opportunity to attend the prestigious Joy of Jazz taking place at the Sandton Convention Centre from the 26th to the 28th of September 2025. To stand a chance to win these sought-after tickets, simply SMS SAFM 89 followed by your name to 41391 and stay tuned to SAFM as we could be calling you. SAFM is the official media partner for the Dipala stage at the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. Entries open from the 7th of August and close on the 31st of August 2025. Winners will be randomly selected and called from the 1st of September 2025. SMSs are charged at R1.50 per SMS. Free SMSs and SMS bundles do not apply. T's and C's apply. You are listening to The Full Circle.
It is The Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga on SAFM. As we kick off conversations, we are looking at the official Y20 South Africa Summit, which is happening between the 18th and 22nd of August ahead of the G20 Summit. And it's the first Y20 gathering on African soil, and it's bringing together youth leaders from around the globe to address global challenges. We're going to be in conversation now with Mugetse Gwayela, who is the co-chair of the Y20 South Africa, and Koketso Mulife, who's the Y20 SA 2025 Sous Shepa, joining us on the line. Mugetse, while we wait for Koketso to join the conversation, good afternoon to you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Bridget. How are you? Good afternoon to you and your listeners.
I'm incredible. Thank you so much. So the Y20, give us some context. It's the first gathering on African soil of
Yeah.
such. Give us some context and some background, and also the importance of young people gathering under the banner of the G20 summit.
Yeah, so I mean, essentially, you've got the G20, which is the group of 20, right? Which, and I think maybe to simplify to our listeners, is like, think of it as like the mother or father body. And then you've got various engagement groups, right? That also work under the broader mother body or mother umbrella. And these engagement groups are essentially led by civil society, right? But some are also led from, government departments like the Department of Higher Education and Training, specifically on the G20 education group. But with us as a civil society engagement group, essentially the Y20 is, the Youth 20, which represents, young people within the G20 member states. And essentially, it's really an opportunity for young people to fully immerse themselves in policy negotiations around, our South African five thematic tracks as it relates to the Y20s. Firstly, negotiating around climate change and environmental sustainability, right? So, Bridget, what are those green horizons? What do we mean when we say we want to lead a just energy transition, right? Then the second one is really on inclusive economic growth and employment, right? Again, today, the quarter labor survey results would have also come out, but also even last month they came out, and again, it's us young people making the loudest noise as it relates to unemployment. Then the third thematic track that we're looking at in terms of, where our young people are negotiating is on AI, digital innovation, and the future of work, right? Essentially, Bridget, we want to build those key competency skills around AI, but also what are the ethical considerations of AI that young people need to be aware of, as we are aware that some of them are using AI in unethical ways to complete their schoolwork, such as university assignments, such that universities have now resorted to coming up with, reference frameworks around policies around AI. The fourth one is on meaningful youth engagement and reforming multilateralism for a just future. Bridget, our young people are hungry for opportunities, and many of those opportunities are centered around how do I, as Mwegate, as a young person, if I want to work for the UN agencies, for the African Union, these multilateral organizations, is there space for me to participate in a meaningful way, right? The last one, Bridget, is really on inclusive social development and fighting inequality. And there, us as the Y20 South Africa 2025 presidency, that is where really we are committed to saying, Bridget, we don't want to we're leaving no one behind, right? And essentially that's how really, and really that principle of leaving no one behind has really informed much of our work since we inherited this work last year when we got the handover from our Brazilian counterparts. Bridget?
An interesting sort of array of conversation to be had here by young people, and just the importance of ensuring that those youth voices are part and parcel of this global gathering. Because not only do we have our sort of our own counterparts by way of BRICS members part of it, but we also have other leading territories from around the world as part of the G20 summit. How important is it for particularly, I guess, African youth in this moment in time to ensure that their voices are heard and that their issues are tabled?
No, it's very important, Bridget. And I think I like what you're saying that, and I think what you're alluding to is that South Africa's G20 presidency, we also can't take it for granted that it's also seen to be Africa's G20 presidency, given that, South Africa is the only member state in the G20 presidency, with the African Union as a multilateral organization only having been admitted in, I think, September 2023, right? And essentially what we did with with Y20, essentially we also got a delegation from the AU that was sent by the AU to essentially negotiate through those five thematic tracks that I mentioned earlier on, right? And also one of the things that we did, Bridget, in terms of that commitment that I mentioned earlier on inclusivity, earlier on in the year, we put out an expression of interest form, right? And essentially that expression of interest form, we spread it the wide and breadth of not only South Africa, but of course the African continent. And I can tell you right now, with our Y20, we are running two parallel processes, right, where you've got 5 South African delegates who are negotiating with their G20 member counterparts through the international negotiations. And then you've got a South African-led process where we've got 5 working groups, about 315 young people representing not only themselves as individuals, but also a wider ecosystem of youth organizations that they are coming from. And some of them come from the African continent, right? So we had received also applications to participate in the negotiations and shape South Africa's G20, Y20 policy positions, from Mozambique, your Kenya, your Algeria, and it really is a wide and breadth also. But I think, just to also, to cut it short on my side is to say it really does reflect, the representation that you not only see in the African Union, but really even in the diaspora as well, because also one of the things we've noted is that also some of our young people in the African continent who form part of our Y20 process, they're also living in the diaspora themselves, but said, listen, this Y20, in as much as the G20 presidency is in South Africa, but it's also my Y20. Yes, I'm in the diaspora, I'm in America, I'm in New Zealand, I'm in whatever, but can I participate? And we said, of course, this is your process. In fact, we must be led by you. It's not about Mweke, it's about you as the young people of not only South Africa, but I think, the African continent and, of course, the diasporan community, which is so important.
Absolutely. Koketso Mulifi joins us also on the line, the Y20 SA 2025 Sous Shepa. How are you doing this afternoon, Koketso?
I'm well, thanks, and how are you?
I'm great, thank you. I mean, let's continue expanding on, the themes that Mwiketsi is unpacking right now and the process, perhaps, that the Y20 embarked on in engaging youth from across the country and the continent ahead of the summit.
So as Mwiketsi has mentioned, we opened up an opportunity for everyone to form part of the Y20 through the working groups. And through these working groups, we have over 2,000 young people that contribute through the different thematic areas. Secondly, it would be through the roadshows that we partner with organizations such as the South African Institute for International Studies, such as the NYDA. We host roadshows in different provinces, in universities and communities to engage with young people about Y20, what is their understanding of it, what would their position be on the different thematic areas such as climate change, which affects all of us, such as AI and digital innovations.
And the key priorities that have been observed and raised so far?
So the key priorities really are around climate change and environmental sustainability. How do we adapt as young people? How do we upskill and reskill ourselves against what is currently affecting us? Also, in terms of inclusive economic growth and employment, how do we create opportunities for ourselves within the G20 grouping? In terms of AI, how do we use it responsibly and ethically? And also meaningful youth engagement and the reforming of multilateralism. How do young people participate in these multilateral groups and to ensure that their voices are represented, as well as inclusive social development and fighting inequality? We know social issues such as gender-based violence, femicide, which affects everyone.
Mwiketsi, sorry, just to jump back to you. We've seen the unemployment numbers coming out this morning rising to 33.2% in South Africa, which is a majority youthful country. And I think Africa as a continent, majority youthful continent. How do we begin? How do youth begin to exploit these gatherings? How do youth begin to sort of take control of the policy agendas so that they, as beneficiaries in future, are able to drive and direct matters that will make a tangible difference and a change for them?
Bridget, that is an important question that you ask. And I think for me, part of the exploitation that you're referring to, which I think is linked to how do we make sure that, we're making use of these, we're exploiting these opportunities for good, in the sense that, so I think for me, it lies in lobbying, Bridget, right? And I think young people need to start participating, and I repeat again, participating in policy creation, but also with an understanding that part of policy creation, for example, most of these young people that even Gotwitso spoke about, who form part of our working groups and international negotiations, is that it's about, this is our South African posture as it comes to climate, right? As it comes to, this is what inclusive economic growth looks like, and another country might very well disagree and propose something else. So I think for me, we've also had to lobby our own leaders, Bridget. For example, the Department of International Relations and Corporations, we've had to lobby those colleagues, particularly during the third Sherpa meeting in Sun City that was held, where we had to present our high-level deliverables to say that, firstly, we want to be institutionalized, right? So Y20, by the way, Bridget, for yourselves and even for the listeners, we are the oldest engagement group, right? 14 years in existence, with plus minus 1,400 recommendations, but none of them have been implemented, right? So the first point of departure for us is that we're calling for us to be institutionalized so that we can be able to track our progress, the progress that speaks to the key points that my colleague Koketso spoke about, to say that these are the sticky points, this is what we are agreeing on, this is what is cross-cutting across the 5 themes, right? We need to be able to track our progress to say that in 2025, in the G20 presidency of South Africa, we met, right? And we agreed that in terms of climate change, we are not going to do an immediate move away, from coal to renewables, right? And I'm just using this as an example. But we are going to take a slow phased approach, right? Where are we with that, with that progress? Because, we don't take it for granted that, again, in the current geopolitical times that we are living in and that we are residing under, right? Of course, some colleagues are also concerned about the incoming, G20 presidency. So we need to be able to make sure that we are institutionalized so that we can be able to make sure that all these policy negotiations that we are negotiating under, and are committing ourselves to, despite the many, disagreements and so on, but we are disagreeing agreeably. And these are the things that we're going to adopt with our final communique. Being institutionalized it also speaks to issues of sustainability. So for me, Bridget, as I wrap up, I would really also just, urge any young person who's listening to this conversation to participate in your country, not only at a local level, at a national level, but also, of course, at these global platforms. Even if you don't know what policy is about, there's nothing wrong with learning. We're all here to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Bridget?
Absolutely. Let's take a quick pause here for the headline news with Ondelambana, and then we'll be right back to continue the conversation.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, independent economist Elise Kruger says the country's muted economic growth is resulting in negative employment outcomes. The ANC in the Kuruleni region has strongly condemned the torching of the Germiston Home Affairs offices. It is alleged that disgruntled residents of the nearby Faro Park flats are believed to be behind the fire. And Trade and Industry Competition Minister Park Stawu says South Africa will submit a revised offer for a trade deal to Washington. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Bridget Masinga is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
Yes, we are. We are streaming live indeed. You can see us in Technicolor. Wherever you get your streams from. I don't always wear blue to match the brand, but if you happen to log into the stream today, I'm very on brand with my blue. It's giving SAFM. We're in conversation with my two guests, Moeketsi Kwayela, who's the co-chair of the Y20 South Africa, and Koketso Molifo, who's the Y20 2025 SUS Shepherd. And we are looking at the official Y20 South Africa Summit. It's kicking off on the 18th of August, and this forms part of the engagements ahead of the big global summit that will wrap up the year a little bit later on, and this one is, youth coming together to convene and present all the global issues that are pressing to them, addressing some of those global challenges and hoping that there will be and outcomes to some of their focus topics like climate change, economic growth, and digital innovation. Koketso, how do you begin to hold leaders accountable to the resolutions that are put forward at such summits?
In terms of holding leaders accountable, back to what Moketsi has said, that we are calling for the institutionalization of the Y20 so that we can have a mechanism to monitor all these declarations that have been made since 1999 till date. So if we are to have a Y20 Sherpas Council, we know that the Sherpas are responsible for the political negotiations. We'll then be able to track through all the previous Sherpas and through an alumni association what impact has there been from one presidency to the next.
By way of this summit, I mean, we've walked through some of the thematics for those youth that will not be, in the conference venues and will not have the literal physical seat in the discussion halls. How do they then get involved, and what can they expect from a summit like this?
So how they can get involved is through following us on the socials and also participating in the roadshows that we are still to conduct until November. I think that is how they will get to know of the developments as well as what we are hoping for the Leaders' Declaration on the final day, which will confirm that all the member states have, through consensus, agreed to the position as young people. So the Leaders' Declaration will then be made public later on in the year.
Okay. Did I also hear that the summit is going to feature an exhibition for youth entrepreneurs, creatives, and organizations?
That's correct. We will have over 10 exhibitors, which comprises of entities of youth entrepreneurs, because we will have over 400 delegates. So we also see it as an opportunity for youth entrepreneurs as well as entities to showcase their products and services.
And who gets to participate in that, and how do they get to participate?
So we have put out a call for applications for delegates to attend from the different member states. We have sent them invites, so different delegations from the 19 plus 2 regional bodies will be in attendance. But specifically for South Africa, we have put out a call for registrations for those that wish to attend.
Moketsi, as we begin to wind down the conversation, I mean, in a country like ours that's plagued with so many challenges that directly affect South African youth on a daily basis, just the importance of mobilizing youth around, global awareness and also participating outside of just observing gatherings like the Y20.
Yeah, Bridget. I mean, I think, in the current, like I said, geopolitical times that we find ourselves in, it has never been more, not only stark, but I think important in terms of mobilizing and organizing, but also I'd say, Bridget, conscientizing our young people, on these particular matters that, we are not only challenged with, but also what are we going to do about those challenges, right? Who are the people? So what are our 5? So for me, I always say, we might not agree on everything, right? And we're not, right? But what are those key, 3 to 4 to 5 key issues that we can agree on, and we start building from there, right? Because we can only disagree so much, right? We can only take to the streets so much, right? And of course that is useful, particularly in a country like ours where the right to protest, of course, is protected in the Constitution, right? So I think for me, part of, mobilizing and organizing is we need to identify what are the key issues, but also who are the people that we need to partner up with in terms of stakeholders, right? And by that, I mean to say, particularly us as young people, even in our negotiations in terms of the Y20s, that you constantly have to, say, but if you're proposing that we should move from A to B, in terms of government level, who do you need to speak with in the government, but also at policy level, at business and so on? So I think for me, we also need a new social contract as part of that organizing and mobilizing, Bridget, right?
Yeah.
Particularly around us as young people, around what is this youth agenda? What is our youth agenda going into, the G20? And the beauty about the G20 is that already there is that, youth agenda through the Y20, right? But I would encourage our young people, not only in this country, but the ones who are listening, abroad to this show right now, is to say, let's mobilize ourselves, let's organize ourselves, because honestly, all these challenges that we are faced with, we also have the capacity to resolve them if we are united around a particular set of issues and disagreeing, but like I said earlier on, Bridget, disagreeing agreeably.
Absolutely. Moeketsi Kwayela, thank you so much for the time. And Koketso Mulife, much appreciated. We're going to leave it there for this afternoon. So the Y20 South Africa Summit is kicking off on the 18th, running all the way through until the 22nd of August, ahead, of course, of that November gathering by the global leaders. And you can track them on social media if you want to participate in some of their events. You heard that they're going to be rolling out a whole bunch of roadshows ahead of that G20 in November. So there's still an opportunity for you as a young person to get involved in some of the conversations. It's fast approaching 20 to 2 o'clock. We're going to take a quick pause here, and then we're going to come back on the other side of this, and we're going to shift gears a little bit and catch up with the folks that are behind the UNISA Gallery, which is collaborating with Ellis House to bring you Place and Practice.
The reigning champs, Amapagania, want to demonstrate that they have a consistent winning formula. But 2024 semi-finalists, Nasandawana, say this time around they will advance to the final. This is the MTN 8 First Leg semi-final. Wafa wafa! Catch Orlando Pirates versus Mamelodi Sundowns on Saturday, 16 August at 2 p.m. live on SABC 1 and SABC Plus. Also available on SABC radio stations at 3 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Do you know what's hiding behind colorful packaging of unhealthy food? Big food companies target children with unhealthy packaged foods that hide high levels of sugar, salt, and fat, which could lead to heart disease, diabetes, and hypertension. But the truth is hidden from consumers. Front of package warning labels are a proven solution to help consumers make informed decisions. The government must act now. We have the right to know what's in our food. Demand front of package warning labels. Sign the petition on heala.org, HEALA.org, by 30 September.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out, because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations from Wednesday, the 23rd of July for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. Bridget Masinga is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
I can never get used to calling it X. It's just forever Twitter. It's forever Twitter. I mean, you remember when Aldrin used to, he was so diligent at calling it X, and he'd be like, send us an X. And I'm like, it doesn't even sound right. Just send us a tweet. Like, honestly, X, it's just, Anyway, we are going to be looking at the UNISA Art Gallery, which is opening up the Place and Practice Collective Voices from Ellis House exhibition. And we're going to have this conversation with one of the visual artists that are part and parcel of this Places and Practice. It is stages, pages, screens, and more.
Stages, pages, screens, and more on The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga.
Senzeni Marasela joins us now, a visual artist, to talk to this exhibition which is happening at the UNISA Art Gallery, Place and Practice, a collective voices from Ellis House, and it's on until the 22nd of August. How are you doing this afternoon, Senzeni?
Hi, no, Bridget. I'm good. And thank you for the opportunity to come and speak.
Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. So the university is proudly presenting Place and Practice Collective Voices from Ellis House. And this is a compelling group exhibition, right, that foregrounds the significance of collective art making. To talk to us about, firstly, let's get a good background as to who Senzeni Marasela is, and we'll get into your chosen form of practice.
Yes, I'm an artist, a full-time visual artist who's based in Soweto and in the Johannesburg CBD. And I work on issues around spatial justice and how Black women occupy the city of Johannesburg through my persona, Theodora. I'm very passionate about living in Johannesburg, you know, and I think it's such a dynamic and a beautiful transitory city that has so much to offer. And being in Johannesburg shapes my work and my ideas. You know,
yes, sorry, Senzeni, continue.
Yes. So I work in New Dorotfontein at Ellis House Artist Studios. So we are a collective of artists that have various practices that work in studio. So what happened with this exhibition at UNISA was that we came together 5 artists.
Yeah.
2 female artists, me and Pumzile Buthelezi, and 3 male artists, Belmiro Jabus, Keshas Kumalo, and Lisonolo Maswabi. And I think this is the beginning of what I certainly hope as someone that works in and out of academia as well, that we could one day have a conference to talk about artist collectives, because there have been many in the history of this country. There's been many community art centers as well. Your Funda in Soweto, which is still there, I believe, to this day. And there are many artists that came from there. Your Rockets Drifts, in many other places. Because, you know, art is such a very a difficult and an unknown career, especially as visual artists, in a broader community in this country. It is beneficial for us to be in collectives so that we can support each other, especially when we work independently, you know, without being attached to commercial galleries.
Yes.
Because those galleries are not able to accommodate all of us. So it's really about coming together and supporting each other as artists. So this exhibition is something that I see as a beginning towards conferences, you know, towards publications, and setting roadmaps on how artists can support each other in the kind of ways that we are trying to here at Ellis House.
A very interesting sort of perspective that you're taking as a collective. I think first time really where one is in conversation with an artist exhibiting as part of the collective and emphasizing the need to explore and enhance that intimate relationship between artists themselves and what might that look like and what that might evolve to, because oftentimes you know the gathering is purely just for the purposes of, at least how some of us perceive it, is purely for the purposes of showcasing the work, you know, within and coming together under a banner of a certain theme. But there seems to be more deliberate thought here about the impact of doing artistic business and collaboration for the actual practitioners.
Yes, because, you know, artists belong in artist communities. We need to support each other. I think it's also something that I feel very strongly about, as I grow as an artist. But we need to find ways of collaborating as an artist, because I think some of us who have chosen this as a career and have been practicing for more than 20 years, it's beginning to make a lot more sense to support each other, in what we do, and also try and show the younger artists, because there is many more Black women artists that are coming up, that are rising, that are university graduates, that are entering into art scholarship, becoming art historians, art critics. We just don't have the kind of platform that they should. And certainly there's a lot more than there was when I was graduating from Wits University in the 90s, when I finished my own art education. And also the visual arts, are such a global phenomena. We are in an industry that turns over billions annually. And Black women are right at the bottom of the feeding chain, of this industry. So this is something that I believe that we need to be very active in changing, through this kind of initiatives of finding spaces that can support each other. And also bring in younger Black women artists as well. And act as incubator spaces and spaces of conversations.
Very interesting also, Senzeni, around your practice being preoccupied with space and how that sort of interacts and intersects with humanity, and in particular Black women. In a city like Johannesburg, where those two things always seem to be in contention, I can imagine that it makes for interesting observation when you get ready for exhibitions, or when you get ready to showcase what narrative you choose to bring to audience at any particular time, and what story you choose to tell.
Yes, I think for me it's also been such a conscious decision, as an artist and also as an activist. I'm very active in Soweto, doing quite a lot of community work. I think for me, when I have listened to stories of my mother and having had the privileges of meeting your Dolly Ratebes when they were still amongst us, and all these stories that I listened to and stories that I read about, because I'm greatly influenced by Njabulo Ndebele's work, The Cry of Winnie Mandela, which looks at conditions in which Black women have waited. For so many different things, waited for the family to come together, because Johannesburg, it's this very strange place that none of us ever talk like we are from here. We're always asking, where are you from? Where are your roots? As if we don't come from here. And a lot of us are born here in Johannesburg. We went to school here, and we're now like fully fledged middle-aged adults whose experiences have been entirely here in Joburg. But there's always this idea that our roots are elsewhere other than Joburg.
Well, listen, it's been a pleasure getting to know you a little bit, Senzeni, and I hope to get to engage you a little bit further as the year goes by. But looking forward to this particular opening, and thank you so much for lending us your time. Unfortunately, we fast run out of it. That was Senzeni Marisela, who is a practicing multidisciplinary artist and forming part of this exhibition that is opening at the UNISA Art Gallery, Place and Practice, Collective Voices from Ellis House. And it's on until the 22nd of August, curated by Tsegofatsi Sioka. You don't want to miss this one. She oftentimes lends her academic lens to visual artists in order to help them shape and bring their narratives to life. It's just gone 10 to 2 o'clock. We're going to take a quick pause here, and then we'll come back on the other side, and we'll look a little bit at what's going on in Germiston. No doubt if you've been watching the news all morning, all those developments, including that Home Affairs building being burned down in Germiston right now, and hundreds of families being evicted, left homeless this afternoon, not knowing where they're going to sleep. So we'll catch up with Puseletso, our SABC reporter, on that.
Last year's finalists, Stellies, are on a mission to graduate to this year's final, while Babina Nuku want to do the talking on the battlefield. This is the MTN8 First Leg Semi-Final. Wafa wafa. Don't miss out on Stellenbosch FC versus Sikukune United on Saturday, 16 August at 5:30 p.m. Live on SABC1 and SABC Plus. Also available on SABC radio stations at 6 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
All right. We thought we'd catch up with Puseletso Mugwena, who's an SABC reporter, around the situation that's unfolding at Germiston right now. And you know, if you've been watching the news cycle channels all morning, you'd note that the Home Affairs building in Germiston has been engulfed in flames. They've managed to put it out now, but there's a significant amount of damage to that building. And this was part and parcel, from what I understand, as part and parcel of protest against evictions that were taking place at Faro Park in Germiston today. Puseletso, how are you doing?
Good, how are you, Bridget?
I'm good, thank you very much. I mean, very disturbing visuals. It doesn't matter which 24-hour news channel you switch on right now, but very, very disturbing visuals coming out from Germiston. Give us some background on how we got here, how the situation got to where it's at.
Well, indeed, they're very disturbing, Bridget, but what I can tell you is that we are here because of the fire that broke out at the Home Affairs offices here in Germiston. What we understand is that the residents that of a unit called Faro Park were protesting over a disagreement with the sheriff coming to evict them, for saying that they don't pay and they've occupied their property unlawfully. Now, what we understand is that they had a meeting on Sunday with the city officials and the sheriff, saying that people who are owing the property and people who are not paying the property, people who are occupying the property unlawfully, they will be evicted today, of which is Tuesday. Now, the residents ensured that they wake up very early in the morning to show that they are in disagreement with this fact, saying that, starting the fire at the Home Affairs offices, which in a way to show that they are really frustrated by what is happening at their homes.
I mean, from what I understand, I saw the sheriff of the court at one of the news channels this morning in conversation with a journalist, at pains to explain the fact that there was a process that transpired before that, months from what I understood before the city and got this judgment. There was a process that transpired that tried to engage the residents of Faro Park on those outstanding debts, a lot of them speaking to defaulting on levies and utilities and rents that were not paid. But a lot of the residents that also went on camera this morning across the various news channels disputing that, saying that they've paid their rents, so they don't understand what's going on.
Well, indeed, Bridget, what we understand is that the court order, this is not the first court order to be received by the sheriff. This is the fourth court order. Now, what we understand is that they've been telling them that we are going to evict you guys if you guys do not continue paying. But also, what we understand when we're speaking to the residents, also they told us that some of them, they told us that they've paid, but yet the private security company that was there to evict them evicted them anyways. Now, that is when the private company, before evicting them, that is when they started asking them, asking for proof that they indeed paid and they were not behind with their levies. That is when they started. But some of them, some of their belongings were removed up until they showed the proof that indeed they were paying. But some of them agreed that they are not paying, they are behind. Some of them have not been paying ever since 2018. You know, some of them are blaming COVID-19 because of them being behind. They're saying that they lost their jobs right now, they cannot afford because apparently it is very expensive.
Yeah. So do we know, Puseletso, if these are RDP homes or are these council rentals? Because there also seems to be some confusion from the residents in as far as, from what I understand, there was a spokesperson of Ekurhuleni who said these are council houses. But a lot of the residents also saying that they had signed some kind of contracts where they were doing a 5 years rent to own.
You know, we need a confirmation on that, and we are about to do the interview with the council. The council is standing with us as I speak with you. So he is the one who's going to confirm everything, because it's a bit of a confusion, because some are saying there should be RDP houses, some are saying they belong to the city council. So we are going to speak to the council right now just to find out, just to clear that confusion.
Okay. Hopefully, some families get some kind of reprieve, because it does seem like a very stressful situation that's unfolded. And what do we know about the updates in as far as that Home Affairs building that was a satellite?
What we know is that the fire has been extinguished. Only the top. The top part of the building, it's a 2-story building. Only the top part of the building has been burnt, but the fire has been extinguished. That's what I can tell you. And also, we know that 2 people have been arrested in connection of the fire, and the police, the deputy commissioner, Fred Kekana, told us that they are expecting to arrest more people, as some of them ran away, but they have arrested 2 of the people right now in connection of the fire. And we also understand that, just to go back to show that this is really frustrating, Bridget, because when they were still evicting them, some houses obviously were locked. They just forcefully entered, took everything out. Some people were at work, so they don't know that this is what happened to their houses. But some of them came back, and only to find that their belongings have been outside.
Yeah. Well, I did see an interview with the sheriff of the court, and he did say that the court order gives them permission to go into the properties, even if they're locked, with the individuals of the homes not being on site. It does give them permission to forcefully open, enter, and remove any of the goods that they find in those households. But Puseletso Mokoena, thank you so much for giving us an update on that. And that segues us into the 2:00 news with Ondelambana. No doubt, SABC News keeping a keen eye on the developments of that story in Germiston.
This Women's Month, SAFM stands with the women shaping South Africa's future. Under the theme, Building Resilient Economies for All, we honor the pioneers, the problem solvers, and the everyday heroes driving change. Stay tuned as SAFM brings you powerful stories and meaningful conversations that move us. SAFM, celebrating women, celebrating progress. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
Thank you, Bridget. On the top stories, ANC reacts to the torching of Germiston Home Affairs officers, and more charges added to a father accused of sexually assaulting his daughter. For SAFM News, I am Ondelambana, and a very good day. The ANC in the Ekurhuleni region has strongly condemned the torching of the Germiston Home Affairs officers. It is alleged that disgruntled residents of the nearby Faro Park flats are believed to be behind the fire. This follows a court order obtained by the city's sheriff to evict them for unlawfully occupying the units after not paying rent. The party's regional secretary, Jongizizwe Dlabati, says this is a serious criminal offence requiring swift and decisive action from law enforcement.
We caution everyone that irrespective of their own frustration, at no point must they damage, vandalize, or ban public infrastructure, for this infrastructure is part of service delivery aimed at helping the people. We call upon law enforcement once again to move as speedily as possible and apprehend those that are involved.
Independent economist Elise Kruger says the country's muted economic growth is resulting in negative employment outcomes. This is the latest data released by the Stats SA shows that unemployment increased from 32.9% in the first quarter to 33.2% in the second quarter of 2025. The data shows that although 19,000 new job opportunities were created in the second quarter, the labour force increased by 159,000. The data shows that according to the expanded definition, unemployment decreased from 43.1% in the first quarter to 40.9% in the second quarter.
So this is really, I would say, negative news. It shows us that with an economy growing at, say, 0.6% quarter on quarter in the second quarter, it is way too low to sustain our labour force, and it is way too low to make a dent in our unemployment rate. Thus, it's of pertinent importance that we need to up our GDP growth number in South Africa. We need to look at factors that will enable higher growth rates. The structural reform measures that government is busy with should be escalated so that we can lift the growth potential of the economy in order to facilitate more job opportunity creation.
3 more charges have been added against an El Dorado Park father accused of allegedly physically and sexually assaulting his 4-year-old daughter. The father now faces 5 charges, including murder, rape, compelled rape, child abuse and assault with intent to cause harm. The child's mother faces a charge of failing to report a sexual offence against a minor. Both accused appeared before the Protea Magistrates Court separately and have indicated that they intend to apply for bail. NPA spokesperson Pindim Jolondwane says the case has been postponed to next week Monday for formal bail application.
As per the Sexual Offences and Related Matters Amendment Act, one has a duty to report. So hence now she's facing the charge of failure to report. So both matters have now been postponed to the 18th of August.
Trade, Industry and Competition Minister Park Stau says South Africa will submit a revised offer for a trade deal to Washington. This in an effort to lower the 30% tariffs that the U.S. imposed on South Africa's imported goods last week. Stau says Cabinet has approved that South Africa submit a revised offer as a basis of negotiations with the U.S. He was speaking at a media briefing in Pretoria.
Government has been implementing a response anchored on 5 key elements. 1, continued engagements with the United States to secure a deal and reduce the tariffs. 2, the diversification of exports to alternate markets. 3, an economic response package to vulnerable companies and workers. 4, trade against import surge and dumping. And 5, demand-side interventions.
Thousands of civilians have fled their homes in a tribal district in northwest Pakistan as security forces resume an operation against militants. Reports say troops used helicopter gunships and mortars to target suspected militants' hideouts in Bajaur district. The BBC's Anbarasan Ethrajan reports.
Amid increasing attacks on its troops, the Pakistani military has launched an operation against the insurgents in Bajaur district that borders Afghanistan. The security drive that began late last month was paused within a day after tribal elders tried to broker peace. But talks with the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan group ended in deadlock, with the insurgents refusing to retreat from civilian areas to go to Afghanistan. Reports say about 40,000 people have fled their homes in recent weeks, fearing violence.
Recapping the top story, the ANC in the Guruleni region has strongly condemned the torching of the Germiston Home Affairs officers. I'm Wandilambana for SFM News Headlines at 2:30.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
The National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
Just so that we're clear, are you saying that every single JMPD officer has a 7,000 Rand a day target, or is it 7,000 as a collective? I mean, what is it?
JMPD officials are separated into operational staff members and administrative staff members. Obviously, the admin staff sit in offices, they do admin work, and the operational members, they go out and they conduct operational duties. I personally engaged with an operational staff member of the JMPD and was informed that each one of them has a target to collect of 7,000 Rand, as we've mentioned earlier, during the day shift. So this is the traffic fine target that must collect.
Michael Son, the DA member of the provincial legislature.
Ashraf Garda on SAFM. Find the podcast at safm.co.za. This Women's Month, SAFM stands with the women shaping South Africa's future. Under the theme, Building Resilient Economies for All, we honor the pioneers, the problem solvers, and the everyday heroes driving change. Stay tuned as SAFM brings you powerful stories and meaningful conversations that move us. SAFM, celebrating women, celebrating progress. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Don't throw
It is Michelle Dengocello coming through, a poet, a bassist, singer-songwriter, and an incredible artist to see in performance. Not too sure if you've seen them on stage, but you definitely owe yourself that favor. Nominated for 13 Grammy Awards and winning 3 of those particular ones. Who is he and what is he to you? She'll be live on the Conga stage at the 26th edition of the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival, which is happening at the Sandton Convention Center. So you don't want to miss it. And of course, we as SAFM will be partnering up at the Dipala stage. We'll be there in full force. It's going to be a weekend like no other. 3 days of feasting on all kinds of incredible global music. www.joyofjazz.co.za is where you go to get your tickets, and you can get yourself a day pass or a weekend pass, depending on the depths of your pocket. Let's take a quick pause, and then we'll come back and we'll get into our health and wellness conversations for this Tuesday.
Keeping your family healthy this winter can feel like a daunting task. Try the Lung Shield range. It includes capsules to support healthy lungs and immunity, a syrup for kids that supports the immune system and promotes lung health, and an effervescent with 13 essential ingredients to optimize immune function. Put your family's health first this winter with the Lung Shield range. Available without a prescription at leading pharmacies. Lung Shield, prescribed by doctors, recommended by pharmacists.
Spar brings you super savings. Get Pampers Active Baby Nappies or Nappy Pads Value Pack for $169.99 plus 400 megs free data on Spar Mobile. Or Cadbury Crunchy Lunch Bar PS or 5-star chocolate bars, any 2 for 22 Rand plus 50 megs free data on Spar Mobile. Plus, you could win your share of 6 million Rand in instant cash. Prices valid until 24 August 2025. While stocks last, T's and C's apply.
It is time to experience spectacular football talent from 19 African nations. East Africa is on full vibration. From Tanzania, Kenya to Uganda, the pitch personnel are hungry for continental glory. This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Witness Chan 2024 on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 from 2 to 30 August 2025. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Pleased to announce the launch of the new self-registration platform. Vendors wishing to do business with the SABC can self-register on our internally developed platform. Vendors are able to access the platform via our website www.sabc.co.za under e-tenders or self-registration at etender.sabc.co.za and follow the prompts. Visit SABC's social media pages for more details.
Bridget Masinga is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
SAFM Wellness Talk is brought to you by MedScheme, committed to pioneering inclusive, seamless, and quality healthcare for every South African.
It is Tuesday. We're getting into our health and wellness conversations and looking at good maternal health, which is a basic human right. We're going to be in conversation with Associate Professor Simone Honickman, who's the founder and director of the Perinatal Mental Health Project. How are you doing this afternoon, Prof? I'm good. Is Prof unmuted? Let's just see.
Yeah.
There you go. How are you?
Hello, Bridget. It's lovely to see you again. I'm doing well. Thanks for inviting me onto the show.
absolute pleasure. All right. So we are talking the National Integrated Maternal and Perinatal Care Guidelines. I mean, it's a mouthful, but what are the NIMPCGs?
These are national health guidelines that have been written for health workers working with mothers and neonates, small babies, across the nation. And we have had the fourth edition published towards the end of last year. And for the first time, we're bringing together maternity care guidelines and neonatal, which are the small baby guidelines. So these are really practical. This is practical guidance for frontline health workers, nurses, doctors, midwives, even specialists who are working with mothers and babies on how to care for them in the best possible way. Our last edition was 2017. So we have now new guidelines that cover the latest evidence and cover the whole spectrum of care, both for mothers and for young infants. And from a legal perspective, these guidelines are actually the key standard for maternity care in the country. So the public can hold our government to account for delivery of these endorsed services in a court of law.
Oh, so what are we talking about when we're talking, the sort of the combined maternity and neonatal guidelines? What are some of the things that are being covered or being revised?
Okay, so there was a long consultation process over a couple of years, and different subgroups with different interest areas and expertise looked at the common health conditions that are facing pregnant women during pregnancy, in birthing, and in the postpartum, and looking at infant and fetal health and well-being. But what's new, and where we came in at the Perinatal Mental Health Project, is that there are three brand new chapters that weren't at all present in the previous editions. There's a chapter on maternal mental health. There's a chapter on respect for maternity care, and there's one on intimate partner violence and domestic violence. So these are new chapters that are really groundbreaking for women's health in this country, because it calls to account our health service to provide this kind of care, and it acknowledges that women are facing these conditions. And these are the first three chapters of the guidelines. They're practical, they're evidence-based, and we're hoping they'll be implemented.
I'm interested to know, Prof, when mental health is always such a big issue, and I can imagine that maternal mental health, sort of as a subcategory, requires a nuanced focus as well. And when we look at issues around intimate partner violence in a country that's plagued with GBV, what kind of processes, procedures, considerations do the new guidelines, these three new chapters, take into account where that is concerned?
Okay, with respect to mental health, we are providing a kind of stepwise approach for units, maternity units or clinics, to think about how they can provide mental health promotion as part of their education to the community who using the service. How to increase the mental health literacy of the public, how to map what are resources in the local communities where women can be referred for support, whether it be support for against violence, support for shelter, support for food security. And then there's an approach in the mental health chapter about how to detect that a woman might be in some kind of psychological distress, how to assess for that, and how to give basic mental health first aid at the first point of care, before thinking about which level of care a woman might need to be referred to outside of the primary service. So to really assist that frontline provider to think systematically about the best way to provide each individual woman, according to their needs, the level of care that is feasible and available in that setting. So
Mm.
that's the mental health chapter. And then the chapter on intimate partner and domestic violence uses an adapted version of the World Health Organization LIVES approach, which is an acronym really for thinking about how to support women who disclose that they're experiencing violence.
Mm.
And it's a very careful, logical approach about affirming the woman, allowing her to make choices, supporting her to make the choices that are best for her, and listening and validating her story.
Mm.
So a lot of these chapters are really, really pragmatic and practical for a busy nurse, a busy midwife
Mm.
or doctor to do right there and then.
Mm. And when one considers I mean, I just I called myself a resident at the labor ward at Mediclinic recently, going in and out myself.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I noted to the nurses, because I'd spent such a significant amount of time in and out over the 9 months, and so being cared by the same group of nurses at labor. And I noted just how intense the environment is. They're operating under really intense, really demanding, emotional environment when you're having to take care of women that have complications or things that need to be monitored and safeguarded in order to get mother and child to the finish line of delivery and birth. And as you're talking about these revised maternal mental health guidelines, I think nurses, midwives, doctors in those departments take on so much already. And are they adequately resourced even for themselves to be able to provide that care and supervision at that excellence level for each one of their patients? And considering how the South African medical sector is really buckling, especially in the public institutions. At private, you can almost come to expect it. At private, at public, it might become a different story when a nurse is seeing 50 patients at a shift.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you're touching on critical health systems issues. Our workforce, and I think particularly in maternal health, is overwhelmed, overburdened. There's extraordinary levels of burnout and compassion fatigue. I think a lot of our staff are facing the same social problems that women are facing. There often aren't mechanisms in place to support them psychologically and to prevent these kinds of mental health challenges that they themselves might be facing. So caring for the carers, and putting in sort of processes and procedures to support the well-being of these staff, and to adequately pay them, adequately train them, give them skills and capacity to manage what they're seeing is a critical component for ensuring that the whole health system can provide this care to women. So the frontline providers are the tipping point there, that they're the key, that investment place where I think we need to put work in if we're wanting women during pregnancy and postpartum to have access to mental health care. And as you said, we've got this opportunity. Women are coming many times during pregnancy to the same group of people quite often. So let's leverage this opportunity and provide them with the care at the point where they're going anyway. Can we optimize this chance to provide them with holistic care, not just physical health care?
Absolutely. What are the most urgent actions that are needed in a country like ours that speak to maternal and newborn health?
I think the maternity support grant, allocation of resources to build a workforce that I mentioned, and due attention to the high levels of disrespect and abuse that we have in the country. So there are groups of us who are interested in looking at the maternity support grant, which is an income support for women during pregnancy. And we know that this will yield enormous return on investment from local and international research. Women during this time have greater financial needs, and when they have access to money, it's been shown that they'll spend it on household food, logistics for using health services, and education opportunities for themselves and their children. So either the child support grant should be extended backwards to cover the period of pregnancy, which is entirely logical, and not only just start from birth, or the basic income grant should be accelerated and implemented urgently so women can have access to much needed cash during this time. That's the one action. The other action is this urgent allocation of resources to build a strong workforce in health and in community-based services to provide this primary level mental health care for women with depression and anxiety at community level, at primary care level. So for this, the providers need to be selected, adequately trained and capacitated. They need to be properly paid and given their own psychological support. And then thirdly, disrespect and abuse, often referred to as obstetric violence, is pervasive in this country. We know that women are being victimized by the health system, by health workers, and we are addressing this in the guidelines, but we need to have ring-fenced budget and systems in place to ensure this human rights abuse of women during pregnancy and in birth and postpartum are treated with dignity and respect, and not the violence that we're seeing of different kinds that are facing women. So those, I think, would be the three critical things I would advocate that our country needs to do urgently.
Prof, let's leave it there because we've fast run out of time and the news headlines is coming right up. But hopefully we'll catch up with you again. That was Associate Professor Simone Honigman, founder and director of the Perinatal Mental Health Project, just running us through the National Integrated Maternal and Perinatal Care Guidelines that have been reviewed. And the last edition, as she said, was in 2017. So no time quite like the present to ensure that mothers and babies get all the good health care that they so deserve. The headlines is coming up in about a minute. And then on the other side of that, we're going to come back and we're going to wrap up the show. We're going to get into our kids programming and then we're going to wrap up the show a little bit later with our final item. And while we're on this, shout out to Sister Nobuhle and her team of midwives and nurses and sisters who hold things down at the labor ward at Mediclinic for holding all of us down. Really, just a fabulous group of women. We wouldn't have made it without you, some of us. So thank you for your excellent care. It's fast approaching 2:30. Let's get into headlines.
SAFM Wellness Talk was proudly sponsored by MedScheme, creating a winning health offering through clinical innovation and trailblazing technology. At MedScheme, we believe that quality healthcare should be within everyone's reach. That drives us to deliver smarter, more accessible health administration and managed care solutions that truly serve the unique needs of our medical aid scheme clients. Through data-driven tech, value-added product integration, and a strong focus on prevention, we're innovating a future of affordable, seamless, and agile healthcare for all. Learn more about South Africa's leading health administration and managed care provider at medscheme.com.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, 2 people have been arrested in connection with the fire that broke out at the Germiston Home Affairs offices in Ekurhuleni today. COSATU has expressed concern about allegations that South African National Defence Force soldiers have not been paid their allowances for peacekeeping mission duties in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And Minister of Higher Education and Training, Buti Manamela, says there is a need to stabilize the National Student Financial Aid Scheme and set in motion a sustainable student funding model. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
From the shows that bring us laughter to the moments that inspire us, your SABC TV license makes it all possible. Every license paid supports local stories, top talent, and the programs that unite South Africa. Pay your TV license today. Visit tvlic.co.za or your nearest retail outlet. Hashtag your screen, your story. Together, we make it happen.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
FlySafe's Business Booster is back to help elevate and celebrate small local businesses. Enter now at flysafe.co.za. Tell us about your business and you could be one of 6 standout enterprises to win 10 return business class flights plus brand exposure across FlySafe's various platforms. Whether you're making, creating or innovating, we're here to help your business not just take off but skyrocket. FlySafe, for the love of flying. T's and C's apply.
Bridget Masinga, weekdays on The Full Circle. This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Hello friends and welcome to our Tuesday edition of Kids Corner. I hope you're having a great day. Today let's talk about money. Do you get pocket money? If yes, how often do you receive it? Every week, every month, or only sometimes? Do you think pocket money should be earned by doing chores or helping at home, or should it just be given? And please be honest, do you think pocket money should be earned by doing chores or helping at home, or should it just be given? And what do you do with your pocket money? Do you spend it right away or save some of it? Have you ever saved up for something special? What was it? And how long did it take you to get enough? Do you think saving money is important? And how does it feel when you finally have saved to buy something you really wanted? All right, let's hear from some of our friends while you share your answers with someone next to you.
Hi, my name is Bugaram Pepu and I am 8 years old. I sometimes get pocket money from my parents. I think pocket money must be earned by helping in the house. Because when you work for your money, you will never waste it. When I get pocket money, I save it. I once saved my money to buy rugby ball. It took me 4 months to save enough for rugby ball. Saving money is important. Because when you need money to buy your things, you don't need to ask your parents. It feels good when you are buying something from your saving money.
Good day. My name is Champembe. I am 11 years old. Yes, I do get pocket money. I usually receive it every week. My parents give me pocket money. I think pocket money should be earned by doing chores or helping at home. It teaches responsibility and money has to be earned, which is an important lesson for later. I like to buy books and toys with my project's money. Sometimes I spend it right away, but I also try to save some for bigger things I want. Yes, I saved my pocket money to buy a special video game. It took me about 3 months to save enough money. Saving money is important because it allows me to buy things I really want in the future instead of just spending it all right away. It helps me plan better. It feels really exciting and rewarding when I have enough money to buy something I've been wanting for a long time. It makes me feel proud that I saved up for it. Thank you.
Hello friends, my name is Akona Takaran. I am 9 years old and I am in grade 4. The school that I attend is Little Angels Christian Academy. Yes, I receive pocket money sometimes from both of my parents, but my dad is the one
who usually gives me pocket money. I usually get pocket money when I help around the house with chores or when I go with my dad to work and help him when he is working. I honestly believe that hard work pays off good rewards. I save some of my pocket money to buy something special for myself. Something special that I saved with my pocket money was to buy a Beyblade toy. It took me almost a year to save enough. Saving money is very important because you are able to buy something that you cannot afford to buy with the little money you get every day. You can also save up your pocket money to buy yourself a toy or your favorite candies. It really feels exciting to save enough money after a long time and to be able to buy what you wanted. It's very fulfilling and makes me very happy.
Greetings to you all. My name is Yolanda Mzobe. I am 11 years old. Yes, I do get pocket money. I get 10 rand per day. I think pocket money should be just given, not by chores or helping. Why? Because what if there's no chores to do or you have nothing to help with? That means you won't have money. What do I like to do with my pocket money? I buy things that I want to buy, but most times I buy sweets because sweets are nice, guys. I am being honest. I think saving money is important because if you go across something you really love and want it right now, you will have some pocket money that you saved and can buy that thing. It feels very excited and you feel like you want to go crazy because you'll have money to buy what you want. Thank you, everyone.
Good day, my name is Monet Angel Ngobera. Yes, I do get pocket money and I often receive it every week. Who usually gives me the pocket money is my grandmother since she is my guardian here at home. I think pocket money should be earned by doing chores, but also it should just be given because when we get our pocket money based on doing our chores, it literally shows that we have responsibility of taking care of ourselves. But then the pocket money being just given is also another form of our parents also taking care of us. How it feels when I have enough money to buy something that I really want. I just feel like I've accomplished a goal that I've been planning for years and years, but then it actually makes me proud of myself. Thank you and have a lovely day.
Hello everyone, my name is Mathemba Kosa. I am 6 years old. I go to Jabez Christian Academy School. My parents give me pocket money every week on Friday. I think pocket money should be earned by doing chores because it's good to work knowing there's a reward. When I get pocket money, I don't always finish it. I save some. Last time I saved up to 300 rands so I can buy myself a Sonic toy. I think saving money is important because it gives me the freedom to buy what I want without asking my parents. Every time I save enough money, I feel very happy and proud.
Hello guys, my name is King David Ikena Chablani Eze and I'm 11 years old and I learn Parktown Public School. I do get pocket money but not often. Pocket money should most of the times be earned by like doing chores or helping at home. It's literally like the same thing. And it can also just be given because it's for like savings. Your parents can give you maybe for you have done well at school or you have made them proud, or maybe you just asked nicely, politely, like they are not your mates. I don't like doing anything with my pocket money. I just save it because it's good to save money just in case you might have any money problems and you just remember, oh, I just saved this money, it's over 20,000. Imagine, I just said imagine. I didn't say it's real, but it can be real. I will feel very, very excited and happy when I have even more than enough money to buy what I really wanted. Yeah, so that's my life, guys. Thank you for
Hello,
listening.
my name is Empresha Bambu. Yes, I do receive pocket money. I receive it every month if I need it. I personally believe pocket money should be given. My reasoning is sometimes if you're not able to do the chore, you should still be able to, when you're hungry, know that there's money in my card I can eat, unlike not having money to eat, because there will be a time when you need money like now, and maybe in that week chores weren't done. I personally save some, spend some, depends 50-50. Yes, I have saved money for something special, and I wanna get myself a phone, and I'm very close to getting myself a new phone. I do think saving money is very important. It teaches you independence, how to use your money the way you like it to be used, and not having someone tell you how to use your money. It's yours.
Hello everyone, my name is Ashley Kabamba. I do not get pocket money regularly, but I do get it sometimes. Usually from my parents when I've done chores, helped out, or achieved something at school. I think pocket money is better when it's earned because it teaches you to work for what you want and appreciate it more. When I get it, I try to save most of it, but I do like to spend a little on snacks or small things I enjoy. Once I saved for a pair of shoes I really wanted, and it took me about 3 months. When I finally had enough, it felt amazing because I knew I had been patient and disciplined. Saving money is important because it helps you reach bigger goals and not just spend without thinking.
Greetings. Today I'll be talking about pocket money. Pocket money is something that I usually get from my parents, of which I misuse it. But I think the best way of using it is saving it so that I can buy valuable things and things that last. So that's the most sustainable way of using pocket money. And the person I get pocket money from usually is my mom, for school more especially. Thank you.
Thank you, friends. It is always wonderful to hear from you. Now let's talk about pocket money. Some of us get it every week, some every month, and some once in a while. It might come from a parent, a grandparent, or even as a surprise from an aunt or an uncle. However it arrives, pocket money feels like a little gift of freedom. For some, it's given out as a reward for helping out, washing dishes, sweeping, feeding pets, or tidying up. For others, it's just given. Both ways teach us something special, either value of hard work or the joy of receiving kindness. Now, what do you do with yours? Maybe you spend it right away on treats, toys, or something fun with friends, or maybe you save it for something bigger, like a bicycle or a trip you've been dreaming about. Saving takes patience, but the moment you finally have enough to get what you've been wishing for, it's pure magic. Saving money is important because it teaches us to plan, to wait for what we want, and to make our dreams come true one coin at a time. It also means that when something unexpected happens, like a school trip or a gift for someone you care about, you're always ready. So friends, whether you choose to spend or save, remember this: money is more than coins and notes. It's a tool that can help you enjoy life, share kindness, and reach your goals. Use it wisely. You'll always feel proud of the choices you made. That's it for today, friends. See you next time.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable for you. Whether it's a civil, criminal, or labor-related matter, we have a nationwide panel of attorneys standing by to assist you. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195 and we'll call you back. Clientele General is a licensed non-life insurer and an authorized FSP. Standard rates and terms and conditions apply.
West Africans Niger are hunting for nothing but 3 points, while Bafana Bafana are pumped to achieve a win. This is the Total Energies African Nations Championship 2024. Niger confronts South Africa on Friday, 15 August at 7 p.m. Live at your fingertips on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Fly Safe's Business Booster is back to help elevate and celebrate small local businesses. Enter now at flysafe.co.za. Tell us about your business, and you could be one of 6 standout enterprises to win 10 return business class flights plus brand exposure across Fly Safe's various platforms. Whether you're making, creating, or innovating, we're here to help your business not just take off but skyrocket. Fly Safe, for the love of flying. T's and C's apply.
Bridget Masinga, weekdays on The Full Circle.
All right, we are wrapping up the show now with a conversation centered around the artistic and cultural contributions of a spoken word collective, Fila Sister, which was quite the buzz back in the early 2000s. And in fact, they had a weekly feature on Metro FM's All Access Breakfast in 2003. And our guest today says, that was a moment in time, a stroke of genius, not only for the collective, but also a representation of just the medium of radio and what it could possibly do and what it stands for. Natalia Molibatsi joins us, writer, poet, performer, editor, and cultural organizer, as well as author, to walk us through some of her thoughts on the opinion piece that she penned down. Can you feel a sister claiming radio time space through radical creative language action? How are you doing this afternoon? Oh, morning on your side of the world.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Are you good?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me, Bridget
Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. So why decide to cast your academic eye and your creative eye on the Fila Sister collective movement?
Thank you for, it was a movement, absolutely. It was a movement that inspired not only poets, but other content creators as well. And this was a time pre-social media. So radio was a central piece for how we consumed culture. And, radio, your own life in radio it stretches and it's tenacious, it's so resistant. Radio has stood the test of time. So when this collective that featured Maisha Jenkins, who's late now, may her soul rest in peace, Lebogang Mashile, Napo Mashiane, and Ntsiki Mazwai. This collective, they wrote poems and they reflected on that particular moment, what was happening in the country. So you could listen to their slot on Metro FM and listen to their narrative and hear that there was this was a time of renewal. Black women were finding their voice. They were registering and writing themselves back into history, and cultural production was also led a lot by young people. A lot of these people who were creating moments in time were people in their 20s. And so this was a really important moment that I didn't want to just forget. We often write a lot about women's contributions in the arts as a sustained moment. And so I feature in in the article not just poets, but also radio producers and presenters who were actually also promoting what was happening at that time, this African Renaissance moment. And I wanted to focus on what is it that women poets were contributing at that moment. And a lot of poets, a lot of poets came out at that moment because women could hear themselves, young women, young Black women could hear themselves and know also that they wanted their voice to be heard. They wanted to use the arts as a space of refuge. So yeah, and radio was such a pivotal medium to galvanize for these voices.
And in your piece, you suggest that the feature contributed, as you've alluded, to the positioning of poets and other creatives, but also the promotion of Black Pan-African and African feminist poetry across South Africa. And I wonder, just juxtaposing, the early 2000s and where we are now in 2025, how have things evolved and changed in as far as that is concerned?
In South Africa, unlike a lot of places that I have experienced, poetry is such an important part of it's our staple. You go to an event, a poet has got a space where they share entertainment, which is also nation building and education. Poets are writers on TV. Poets are program directors. So poets are such a staple part of our cultural consumption and production and dissemination. So that was one of the moments. That was one of the moments that poetry became a popular moment, and it was not just this intellectual as much. It's a very intellectual production, but it's not just intellectual. It's creative. It's embodied. It sits on stage and it entertains us. But also, what I wanted to do was to take some of these examples into the academic space and say, this is valid knowledge. This is what we can teach to our students to say, who are the women who were contributing at that moment that was so young in our transition? Who are the women who were in radio, at White FM, looking at you, Bridget, people in their early 20s who were actually creating something that is worthwhile to learn, to write about, to teach, so that we can have this knowledge here and also document it. And so many archives at the FBC, to listen to and reflect on the moment.
Absolutely. And when you speak about archiving and documenting, earlier on you referred to it as, these women, specific to Afila sisters, registering and writing themselves in histories. That's often being the contentious theme, at least in a lot of the work that I've done, as to how do women, both of, political parts and arts and cultural parts, begin to register and archive themselves in histories of yesteryear, but also of today, of the present. And maybe to tag team on that, just the importance of mediums like radio in facilitating that and enabling that.
Yeah. And we're also preparing an archive of the future so that future people have a point of reference, whether politically culturally. And so we're looking at our past and saying what was happening, how does it influence the now, but also how does it make possible this future that we're constantly working towards. You don't want to always reinvent the wheel or start from the beginning. You want to say, here are these women whose archive I'm contributing to. You know, if I was a person, a poet, a content creator, I would be really thrilled and excited to know that 50 years ago, 20 years ago, there are people who carved a way, you know, just so that this knowledge is legitimate, you know.
Absolutely.
And so someone will find this piece. Someone will find this piece 20 years from now, 30 years from now, and hopefully use it as some kind of reference.
Now, let me ask you, Natalia, as we begin to wind down, you know, there's been a lot of criticism leveled against radio in recent years and the content that comes out of commercial radio in particular. And I wonder, what is your sense on the current discourse? I'm sure you're keeping tabs on the conversations that are happening in the country, because a lot of people have said that, you know, the very essence of what you speak about is now lost in current mainstream media, radio specifically.
I mean, things change, but what I like about radio is that it is a constant. So we often think that we are so evolved, and we forget that for many people, internet and other digital forms of media are not, you know, an everyday access. So radio remains a central point of how we consume culture. And we also have an example in articles like the one that I've written, that radio has people who have been working to refine it, to make it a better space for us to continue not just consuming what we call ephemeral entertainment, but education, nation building. So I'm one really who is committed to public radio as a space of mass access, where we are sure, you know, in research that most people still consume culture through radio. And it's really up to us as creatives to continue slipping some of these cultural productions from women, from Black women, a feminist point of view. And this is what Fila Sister and others created for us.
Yeah, we have to leave it there for this afternoon, but we appreciate the time with you. That was Natalia Molubatsi, writer, poet, and performer, and of course, published author. That's all the time we have with you on the Full Circle. Myself, Bridget Masinga. Ashraf is coming through. No doubt he'll continue watching the developments that are unfolding in Germiston today with that protest action that is happening on the back of that community evictions. From myself, we'll see you tomorrow. Inshallah, God willing, we get to do it again.
Thank you, Bridget, and the team on the top stories. 2 arrested for torching the Home Affairs office in Germiston, and Myanmar's military accused of human rights violations. For SAFM News, I am Ondilambana, and a very good afternoon. 2 people have been arrested in connection with the fire that broke out at the Germiston Home Affairs offices in Ekurhuleni today. Residents took to the streets to show their discontent following a court order obtained by the office of the city's sheriff to evict non-paying residents at the Faro Park flats. It is believed that they are also behind the torching